Surgeons of Reddit. What's the weirdest object you've had to remove from someone's butt? I wasn't the surgeon. I was the patient's family doc and took care of him in the hospital for his short stay after. He had a cue ball get stuck. Not sure exactly what he thought would be the way to get it out. We had a lot of trouble getting it out. The conversation of the surgeons trying to come up with a way to get it out was pretty hilarious. I'm a vet. Dog had eaten a whole roll of poop bags, the plastic baggers people used to clean up after their pets on walks. They unsponnelled in his gut and spread from stomach to colon. His owners realized what had happened when he started pooping out bags and brought him in through ER. My co-worker went in to cut him, and the scene she described was hilarious. He would intermittently strain a little and poop out a little section of bags. Someone would tear them off and he'd be okay for a bit, then poop out some more, like he was dispensing them for himself. He did great after surgery. ER doc here. As previous posters suggest, it becomes hard to distinguish what is weird anymore. So judge for yourselves. 3 lemons about a foot of broom handle, a light bulb, which did not survive his adventure, so many toilet brushes, inserted brush and handle first, a series of toothpicks, any number of bottles, aerosol cans, etc. My favorite case was a simple dildo. We read it and the radiologist's report read, there is an approximately 15 cm cylindrical foreign body in the large intestine extending proximally from the rectum. Judging by the indistinct outline of the foreign body, I suspect it is still on. Endotech here. Had a guy come in with a cap section, a PVC pipe filled with mercury because he liked the sloshing when he jerk in his turkin. Had to call in hazmat and security had to be called when he became violent because they wouldn't give the mercury laden pipe back. ER nurse. I've seen baseballs, loads of dildos, cans of soda, vegetables. There should be a public service announcement about using dildos in the bum. It needs to have balls or some sort of base so it doesn't get lost up there. Women's vaginal dildos don't need them, as there is only so far it will go. A doctor I worked with once told a man, it's okay if you want to put things in your rectum. You just have to use the right things. Years ago my nurse wife told me a man had an apple removed from his butt, but I never understood how this could be possible. I often think about this but have never asked her for more details. I'll ask her over the table at Christmas dinner tonight. Disappointing update, I didn't ask her at the Christmas dinner. There were small children around and everyone was having a nice time. It didn't seem cool to bring it up. Also, no one else started any butt stuff related conversations, providing an opening for my inquiry. I asked her today but also told her about my post on here. She didn't feel comfortable sharing the details with you guys, so I guess you'll just have to use your imagination. Someone posted about a similar situation and suggested they had possibly worked with my wife. Based on the details in their post, I am sure it was a separate apple butt incident. A enormous silicone butt plug which broke off at its base inside the patient. It was shaped like a soft cone on a stalk, with the base at the bottom. Had to remove it in pieces. Also, an Orangina bottle 2 years before this butt plug. A friend of mine is a surgery resident, and during one of her trauma shifts a meth head walked in with an incandescent light bulb in his colon. It was shoved in with the wide part first. They were dilating the rectum in an attempt to remove it, and the resident in charge of the procedure managed to accidentally separate the metal base from the glass globe, which immediately shattered under the pressure of the colon. They had to perform a partial colectomy to resolve the complication. Meth is a hell of a drug. A foreign body per rectum is a fairly common occurrence. In my time rotating in the ER, the most common things have been yucca roots, avocados, shampoo bottles, etc. But that light bulb story is still unmatched. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen the X-ray. When I worked in the ER, we had a guy come in with a 6 battery mag light stuck up Main Street. The funny part is that it was inserted bulb out and it was turned on. So we laid him down prone and the doc spread his cheeks. Then the room lit up like he just cracked open Marcellus Wallace's briefcase. Back when I was an ER tech, we had this guy come in with a full-size bottle of VO5 shampoo up his butt. Of course he said he fell on it in the shower. You could clearly see it on the x-ray. It was pretty spectacular. The best part was he knew exactly what needed to be done to get it out, suggesting that this wasn't the first time. He asked for conscious sedation and for someone to pull it out. Well, the ED doctor tried that. Then tried to manually get it out with forceps. And was essentially elbow deep in this dude. But couldn't get it. He had to go to the operating room to get it taken out. I bumped into the surgeon a few days later and asked him how it went. He joked to me that after we knocked him out, I grabbed a plunger out of the bathroom and got it out that way. But then told me all he had to do was stick some suction up there till he felt it connect. And then slowly pulled it out. According to the surgeon, this guy never presented any sort of identification or insurance card. And demanded to pay his entire bill before he left. Usually takes some time for bills to get finalized. He paid it completely in cash. And then left via a taxi. I'd be more interested in what non-medical people have had to help people remove from their butts. Not my story. My friend is a radiographer. A guy came into the hospital with Barbie dolls up his butt. After scans, one came out without too much issue, but the other was too far up. They were worried that if it was pulled out, its SOMs would open and puncture the bowel. So they scheduled surgery. The X-ray staff waiting excitedly for news. The surgeon then returned and with a serious voice announced, "We've found Ken." Not a surgeon but. Wowie wowie. Do I know a lot of cases involving falling on things and other such excuses. Here are just some of the things I know. A Buzz Lightyear action figure. A Barbie doll. Plaster of Paris. They wanted a mold of his colon. Instead, it had to be cut open as it was glued shut by the plaster. Glasses, the sight kind. Jewelry, mostly necklaces. A cucumber witch. After proclaiming he fell over in the garden naked and landed on his cucumber patch. Still had the Tesco wrapper on it. A light bulb. Finally, on a rather dark note, if you're a fool who slips something up their black hole, 'cause the butt sucks things in disturbingly well, they can't retrieve. Please. For the love of God. Go to your doctor. People have died due to toxic shock due to this poop. A guy here died of it in 2 weeks due to having a dildo stuck up there and never went to his docs. Your pride can recover. But you can't recover from death. Not me but a good friend I have known since 6th grade who is an emergency room DR. Straight couple in their early 20s and they were using a vibrator on her. They switch. He said it was his first time, and they had lube everywhere and the slim 6-inch vibrator disappeared all the way up in him while it was still on. They waited and tried to get it out on their own and finally went into the ER. They were going to wait till the batteries died but it was getting late. My buddy tried to get it out but couldn't get it. He told the guy they might have to do surgery to get it. The guy asks my buddy if he has to go and can he call his mom and tell her. My buddy laughs and says you are 22 and you get to call your mom to tell her you have a buzzing vibrator in your ass that might be perforating your colon. Then my buddy remembers a guy he went to medical school who works in the same hospital. He has freaky long thin fingers like ET that might work. The other DR gloves up and gets the vibrator still buzzing out of him. Just for your information, it is really easy for this to happen, so limit the lube on your hands. Your colon gets like a suction on it and things go in easy like what happened to these guys. Edited sub vibrator where dildo was. I was an RN at a busy Detroit emergency department. A homeless woman, frequent flyer and drug abuser, came in to see us with abdominal pain. The X-ray revealed 17 oval-shaped objects in her vaginal space. They were removed by a very diligent medical resident armed with a speculum and Magil forceps. With the aid of an ultrasound tech. 17 Barbie doll heads. Their removal was made a bit easier by their long hair. Edit. Former co-worker saw my post. Small world. Reminded me of the man with the small fluorescent bulb in his rectum. He insisted on the doctor in the ER just pulling it out and sending him on his way. But those bulbs break very easily, lacerated colon, and are full of toxic chemicals, poisoning. Surgical removal was recommended, but he flatly refused. Because hey, what would he tell his wife? He signed out AMA and we never saw him again. Son of a doctor here. My dad removed an entire peeled sweet potato from someone's colon once. He swore that he had just slipped and fell on it. We received a patient with horrible pain that felt like constipation. He couldn't poop and laxatives weren't helping. We soon found out that the blockage wasn't just constipation. It was a string of beads several meters long that had become tangled into an ugly ball inside. I had to snip it apart and carefully pull pieces of it out. When most of it was out, his ass became a rocket engine with diarrhea as the propellant. I've seen a small size Fanta orange soda can get pulled straight out of a man's rectum. I once had a flatmate who was a nurse. She had a patient who came in complaining of stomach pains, which was caused by the cucumber he'd shoved up his butt a couple of days earlier. Apparently the smell caused by pickling a cucumber in your colon is extremely nasty. I'm not a doctor, but my cousin is a colorectal surgeon. She's dealt with at least 2 people who've put light bulbs in their butts. Not the butt. Close to it. My sister worked in a urology clinic and has some very crazy stories ranging from at-home hanky-panky change procedures to this case in particular. She had to remove almost 200 BBs from a guy's bladder via his urethra one by one, as the guy had a fetish of shoving things down his urethra. MD. But not a surgeon. On my surgery we had to remove mini Nerf football from someone's butt. He kept apologizing and saying he wasn't gay. Later, the attending surgeon told us that it's always the straight guys coming in with stuff up their butts and they always try explaining that they aren't gay. From looking at the medical Reddits, I have learned that every type of object known to man has been placed inside of someone's anus somewhere at least once. We progress from sticking everything we see into our mouths as kids to sticking everything in our ass as adults apparently. Edit. Math on the brain. Not a surgeon, but a former anesthesia technician while in the army. I had a few interesting cases come through. Top 5. Not in order. 1. Light bulb. Not like a lamp light bulb, but one of those LED lightsaber bulbs that you see air traffic controller people using. 2. 24-inch double-ended ribbed black dildo. That was a guy who had it stuck there. 3. Soda can 4. Ken doll. This was actually removed from a woman's vagina. 5. Half a baguette. Not a freaking clue how that happened honestly. I've thought about it a lot and just never could figure it out. Girl I know had suspected cervical cancer. Saw 2 different doctors before a specialist examined her surrounded by trainee doctors. Grabbed and pulled on what everyone thought was an infected, tumorous cervix. It was a love egg. It had been in there for 3 months. Dunno what qualifies as weird anymore. Between myself and friends. Glass dildo. Vibrating dildo. Travel toothbrush holder. Campbell's soup can. Cucumber. Maglite. Cologne bottle. Sean John unforgivable hair. Time capsule. Light bulb. Aerosol can cap. The oddest one was literally nothing. Guy comes in complaining of something stuck up their butt by girlfriend. Air doctor feels and nothing there. X-ray and CT scan says maybe something there. I don't feel anything. In the operating room I feel deeper and still nothing. Finally do a full colonoscopy and nothing there. Not a surgeon but my ex was. A policeman and his wife came in because he had something stuck up his butt. When my ex asked what, the wife said a vibrator. Exactly like this one. And pulled out a 9-inch vibrator from her handbag. Cassava. And everybody in my country knows it cause it showed up in the news because someone in the operating room had the great idea to record a video of it and make it viral. The patient sued the hospital. Middle-aged man goes into A&E with something up his back passage. Goes into X-ray where he sees my girlfriend. What's up there? 4 baking potatoes. Not the little ones either. Each one about the size of a fist. As he tells it, he was at home cooking dinner and slipped in the kitchen and 4 potatoes went up his ass. Sure they did.
Hi there. Look, if you enjoyed the video, well, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to Reddit Stories. In fact, if you want to see even more responses to this thread, well then, take a look. There's the link in the description below. And remember, show some love to those authors while you're there. And I look forward to seeing you next time.